Ellen, Guerrero, Davis, Fraz, Hansen, Hernandez, Oshite, Iqbal, Kenyon, Caius, Gopi, Leonard, Lewis, Martins, Molina, Sanchez, Shefflo, Silva, Starrett, Surgis, Thomas, Weber, Wegman, Winnicki. We have a quorum.
Okay. Please turn off cell phones to avoid distractions over the next hour and a half. Pledge allegiance, if you'd please rise. I'd like to ask Sarah Stofa, the new Deputy Director of Kane to come to the microphone to lead us in the pledge. Sarah has 16 years of experience in public safety communications, having served as Deputy Director, Training Coordinator, Certified Training Officer, and Telecommunicator during her career. The obvious mutual respect that she and Michelle Guthrie enjoy is a good example for all of us. So it's nice to have you.
Thanks. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you please remain standing? For the prayer, I'd like to ask Pastor Alex Merlo from Iglesia San Pablo Church in Aurora, Illinois, to come to the microphone and lead us in prayer. Also, while we pray today, if you would keep in your prayers Jared Sanchez's grandmother on his father's side, who passed away last week. Also, Hamid and Major Ahmed, who combined have 80 years of service to Kane County, made a lifetime pilgrimage to Mecca, and I believe that they're on their way home after those extensive traditions of customs that they've observed. So with that, Pastor.
Let us pray. Gracious Father, Almighty God, as we come together this morning, that my fellow citizen will celebrate this meeting, we ask you, Lord, to bless them, to be with them, to lead them. It's the same way we ask you, Lord, to bless all the citizens in our beloved Connie. Let your love and mercy shine upon all of us. And thank you for this honor to come before you. In the name of Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Okay, next on the agenda, approval of the minutes. May I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from July 9th, 2019? So moved by Mr. Fraz, second by Dr. Iqbal. Any changes or corrections? If not, all those in favor say aye. Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Next on the agenda, for agenda and non-agenda items, are speakers. As a matter of protocol, individuals who register to speak on agenda items prior to 8:30 this morning are allowed 5 minutes to address the board. Registered speakers for non-agenda items are allowed 3 minutes, with the total public comment time limited to 30 minutes per meeting. So with that, do we have speakers this morning? Mr. Ward, would you come forward, please? If you give your name and address.
Sure. Good morning, I'm Jeff Ward. I live at 189 Abbey Lane in Geneva. Most of you know who I am. What? Problems, Chris? Okay, most of you know who I am. Most of you probably also know I've been waging a battle with the Kane County State's Attorney's Office since last October to try to get 255 pages of sexual harassment complaints and their disposition against just one former prosecutor. You also probably know that when that FOIA request was denied, I brought it to the Attorney General's office. They ruled wholly in my favor. Yet the Kane County State's Attorney's Office continues to refuse to turn over the documents. The state's attorney likes to say this is just one person's opinion. It's just one attorney at the Attorney General's opinion. That's not the case. I've put the opinion online. There's 7 or 8 pages from a judge. There's 8 pages from various Attorney General attorneys. The Attorney General is considered to be the statutory judge for FOIA disputes. But Mr. McMahon believes his office is above the law. He calls it a difference of opinion, and he continues to refuse to turn over the documents to the point I've had to sue the Kane County State's Attorney's Office. Try telling a judge that just sentenced you to whatever that you're not going to follow it because that's the judge's opinion, and I'll be visiting you in jail. I mean, this isn't an opinion, it's a ruling. And what really kind of frosts my flakes is the state's attorney's office doesn't even have to appeal this. All they do is continue to deny to turn the documents over. They point me back to the Attorney General's office, who they ignore, and I have to spend my own money to get a judge to hopefully rule in my favor. The first court date is August 26. The bottom line is the public has a right to know if those charged with prosecuting pariahs are pariahs themselves. There is a vast interest in that kind of thing. And the courts have repeatedly ruled that documents produced by a public office are automatically assumed to be FOIAble unless they fall into one of 7 statutory exemptions. And the burden of proof is on the state's attorney's office to prove by clear and convincing evidence that there's a good reason to exempt them. Clear and convincing evidence is the civil equivalent of beyond a reasonable doubt. Fascinatingly, though, the one thing that the KCSAO did argue successfully was that their office is not a county office. And the Attorney General agreed their office is constitutionally a state office. And if that's the case, one could argue the internal control statute doesn't apply to the Kane County State's Attorney's Office. That means this board can take whatever measures they deem appropriate to kind of encourage the state's attorney's office to follow the law they're sworn to uphold. And if the board doesn't act in this regard, then you're complicit with sexual harassment. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers? Any other public comment? Okay, if not, next on the agenda. Yes, Ms. Allen.
Just a respectful admonition that we have a new parking organization in the front of the building. And our goal is to have everything to the north of the sidewalk be available for our customers. So may I politely ask our board members to also not park in that area if they can possibly avoid it. Thank you.
Good, thank you very much, Ms. Allen. Other presentations and discussions. With your indulgence, I'd like to ask Gloria Kelly, who's the executive director of Casa, to come to the podium. Gloria had sent a lovely thank you note for an external riverboat grant, and I was going to read that today, but much better than my reading a note from Gloria would be for Gloria to give a short presentation this morning. So, Ms. Kelly.
Thank you. So nice to be with you all. Thank you for letting me share a couple minutes with you this morning when I know that you have a pretty tough and busy agenda on solving a lot of problems within the Kane County area. So I look at this kind of like, as I do with all of our board meetings, kind of like a great mission moment. And I never take for granted our team, our leadership, our Casas, and then the work that we do every day that you help allow us to supervise and manage in serving 100% of every child that comes into abuse, neglect, and probate courts. We've been a long partner with you for many, many years, and it is just a strategic partnership that, again, we want to continue with. We want to be able to grow. We also love to hear feedback on how we can also improve our services. But if you will, and I'll just take another 30 seconds of this, but even
even in the last 2 years, we have made significant strides. I've been with the organization for 12 years, and we had 8 part-time people. Today, we have 21 full-time staff members. Last year, we brought on 2 full-time attorneys, which I would have, if you asked me that 6, 7 years ago, I would never even thought would have been possible. We were fortunate to work with the PD's office for as long as we could, but because of the additional funding from this grant, your increase, some of the additional fundraisers that we've had, we can now say 100% that we are serving in probate as well. We've taken probate to a whole new level in our organization because we've been appointed to those since 2004, and actually the only Casa program in the state of Illinois. We are also still noted to be one of the largest in the state, again, because of strategic partners like we all have. And I don't know if many of you know this, but the outside garden that we have out of 3rd Street, that is actually maintained and was actually funded by the Casa organization. So we actually have that in our lease agreement, which I know you all know and approve. But again, just here to say thank you for what you do and believe in our organization. We couldn't do it without you, and just glad to be a strategic partner with you. Thank you, and thank you, Chris.
And thank you for your good work.
You're welcome.
Next up, I'd like to call Arlene Hawks, who is the Executive Director of SciTech Museum in Aurora. I believe that Ms. Hawks has a similar message and would like to give a short presentation regarding SciTech.
Good morning. Thank you so much for allowing us to show you our little museum that could, and you are the people that make it. And next to me is Camille Collar, who is my operations director, and Grand Victoria Riverboat. We got a little commercials in case some of you don't know who we are before we start. Thank you.
Imagine, explore, discover. Deep in the heart of Aurora, Illinois, destinies are being shaped. There's a place where you can dare to question everything and imagine the possibilities. Welcome to a world where you can create the future. Your passion for lifelong learning is lit up through 200 interactive STEAM exhibits. Founded by Fermi Lab scientists, SciTech is your museum, so explore the hands-on exhibits. There's a little something for everyone. We're fostering tomorrow's leadership today. We've created a launching pad where people of all abilities can take flight and discover their futures. Where the person you are when you enter is not quite the same as when you leave. Imagine, explore, discover. Here at SciTech Hands-On Museum. Visit today and test drive a membership. And remember, we're perfect for camps, special events, and birthday parties. Discover more on our website or check us out on Facebook.
And in case you didn't know us, now you do know us, and because of you, we have been allowed to grow and to prosper and have young children enjoy such incredible things. So we thought we would show you some of the things that you have made possible. But it's not going, Blair. We showed you our video, and now it's not going. Okay. Well.
Just to the next slide.
Sorry. Anyway, I can tell you the first year you helped with getting our displays up and running. Here we go, completed projects. Thank you so much. 2014 was the World of Wonder, and we bought so many other things to add to the exhibits that were already there, our Imagination Playground, Ancient Times, and Color Crush, and these are things that the children are still enjoying today. That was 2014. 2015, we have an incredible Star Lab that you funded that goes across the actual state, and we have reached thousands of young people and put them inside our blow-up planetarium, and now they get to see the wonders of the night sky. Now we have Life on the Fox River. We have a brand new indoor water exhibit table that the children can see all of the dams and the things that go on during the Fox River, and of course the Fox Valley Riverboat is what we're doing. And then in progress we have the Fox Motion Park, and you have provided tables and umbrellas and signage to things that were out there that had no feeling for where we are. And then we have the rocket blast-off, which we are in the middle of putting together now, where the children with pressure can come and fly those rockets. Nobody, doesn't like a rocket, so we're excited about that. And now 2019, we thank you for our grant that we just had. We're going to recreate the World of Wonder with weather and climate, which is a very, very big discussion in our society. So the children will be able to test weather and do all the weather things. And without you, without this board, we could not continue. On your table, you have the birthday bash. So if you'd like to visit us on September 29th and bring your children, it's free. We take over the streets of downtown Aurora, and we can't thank you enough. And we should also mention, we got a wonderful grant to do a master plan. SciTech will be reimagined in the next several years, inside and out. So again, our heartfelt thank you from SciTech to you. Thanks so much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hawks. Okay, now I'd like to ask retired federal judge Manny Barbosa to come forward to be recognized for his service as the Zoning Board of Appeals Chairman. So, Manny, it's great to see you again. So come on up over here. We have a plaque for you. Come on up over here. If you'll face the audience now. Fantastic. Let me read this. It's a wonderful man. This is recognition of Judge Manny Barbosa for service as chairman of the Kane County Zoning Board of Appeals. Whereas Judge Manuel Barbosa served as chairman of the Kane County Zoning Board of Appeals from January 2017 to May of 2019. Whereas Judge Manuel Barbosa has and continues to serve Kane County and has in the past served on the Metro Board from 2013 to 2017. Whereas Judge Barbosa served as a U.S. bankruptcy judge for the Northern District of Illinois from April 1998 through January of 2013, presiding over many cases brought under U.S. Bankruptcy Code. And whereas Judge Barbosa has provided education and inspiration through his public speaking and written publications, including authoring his own book of his own life story entitled Littlest Wetback. Whereas Judge Manuel Barbosa is married to his lovely wife Linda, has 3 children, Elena, Vincent, and Christina, as well as 8 grandchildren. Now therefore be it resolved that the Kane County Board recognizes and applauds the contributions of Judge Manuel Barbosa as the chairman of Kane County Zoning Board of Appeals and desires to extend the county's best wishes for future success, further future success. So, and then pass today, we'll put this up for a motion and pass later on. So,
Thank you very much. I do want to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Chairman and the board members for allowing me the opportunity to serve. I think it was almost 42 years to the day that I began my service in Kane County as an assistant state's attorney on the small office on the 4th floor of the county courthouse down the street here. Since then, I've been blessed and privileged to serve at the municipal, county, regional, state, and federal level. And I just recently got called back to see if I still have something left in the tank to do a little work for the Illinois Human Rights Commission, which is a place where I spent 18 years in the past. I am very grateful to this body for giving me the opportunity. I think it was Abraham Lincoln who said that the noblest, simple, and perhaps best aspiration a man can have is simply to earn the esteem of his fellow man, and there's no better way to earn it than through seeking the common good through public services. I'm sure most of you have experienced. It brings personal fulfillment, great satisfaction, and I wish to thank all of you for giving me the opportunity to experience that.
Okay, next on the agenda, this is going to be show and tell this morning. We have a quick time-lapse video of the Long Meadow Parkway Bridge being constructed. So I'll turn it over to Blair to show the progress being made. I'd like to thank the taxpayers, the board, the transportation staff and transportation committee for all the good work that's made this possible. Next, we have a compilation of just a few of the information matrix videos for your viewing pleasure.
Consumers are demanding more healthy, tasting food choices that they can trust and that are grown sustainably. This is especially relevant within the produce industry, where modern-day food has been specifically engineered to travel long distances, often compromising taste and nutrition to survive journeys averaging over 2,000 miles.
I remember what strawberry tasted like. I remember what strawberry shit tasted like. That's not what we get a lot of times today in our supermarkets or even our top restaurants.
Right now, there are millions of animals waiting to be adopted into loving homes, and the Petco Foundation is on a mission to match every animal without a home with animal lovers across the country who have room for warmth in their lives. Since 1999, the Petco Foundation has invested more than $150 million in life-saving animal welfare work. With more than 4,000 animal welfare partners, we empower communities to make a difference in the lives of animals by funding adoption programs, spay-neuter services, pet cancer research, service and therapy animals, and numerous other life-saving initiatives. Through our adoption efforts in more than 1,400 Petco stores nationwide, the Petco Foundation helps fund loving homes for more than 400,000 animals each year. To learn more, please visit petcofoundation.org. Spacious skies, amber waves of grain, and purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. This is America the Beautiful, rural America. Despite its many beauties all across the U.S., small towns and rural communities, the backbone of this country, face enormous challenges. We constantly hear the story of cities continuing to bloom and grow, but the story is not the same for rural towns.
Living in a rural community, I have noticed that it's really hard to involve work and your family life at the same time. So in a rural community, you can tend to have jobs where you can have your kids involved.
I think it's incredibly important for state government to support rural communities. I think that rural communities, we know our community, we know and can find our vision, but oftentimes we really need help with the capacity to help implement that, to get the tools and the resources to help us achieve what our mission is for our community.
As rural America struggles to maintain economic stability, states also struggle with what to do about it. As state-level funding also decreases, states need to find more innovative and creative solutions.
The interesting thing with our rural communities is that we've seen a continuum of resiliency and growth. And one thing that we know, there's not one size that fits all. So we're looking at programs that can come in and support individual community needs and help them amplify their vision.
Nestle got involved with hiring our heroes in 2017 to increase our outreach to veterans and transitioning military members. Veterans offer some of the best experience that we can hope for in candidate, and there's so much knowledge and experience to tap into. So it's really been a really great asset to our company to really focus on hiring veterans and transitioning military members.
Our partnership with Hiring Our Heroes allows us to connect better with the military community, with transitioning military, with veterans, with the military spouses, and with student veterans as well. All of these folks can help us to fill more critical roles within the company.
Those of us can get out and talk to these young service members and their family members and talk to them about the great opportunities that exist in their business, how they can grow in that business, but more importantly, how they can utilize the American dream by utilizing the military skill sets in a way that both helps that service member but also the company.
Some of the goals of our partnership with Hiring Our Heroes has been to fill some critical gaps and roles within the organization that veterans and transitioning service members really have a unique opportunity to fill.
Thank you, Blair. Blair? Thank you very much.
I think that's good. With the veterans is a mutually beneficial practice with both Nestle and the veterans, simply because I think we're a company that...
Okay. And there are many more, scores more at their website, so wanted to give you a sample of that. Thank you for your attention. Next are zoning petitions. I ask Development Committee Chairman John Martin to rise, discuss, and take us through the appropriate procedures to approve the zoning petitions on today's agenda. Mr. Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first petition we have this morning is petition number 4509 property located at the corner of Deer Path and Seavey Road in Blackberry and Batavia Township. I move its approval and request a second. Mr. Fry seconds. This is an expansion of an existing public stable. There was no regional planning commission jurisdiction. The zoning board approved the proposal, subject to there being a road dedication, additional road dedication along Seavey Road, and mandating a stormwater permit before any improvements are actually constructed on the site. The development committee approved the same, using the same adopting the same two conditions. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Ellen? Barrero? Davis? Braz? Hanson? Hernandez? Oshite? Iqbal? Kenyon? Caius? Kobe? Leonard? Lewis? Martin? Molina? Sanchez? Shefflo? Silva? I'm sorry, she's not here. I'm way up. Surgis? Weber? Wegman? Winnicki? Passes.
The second petition before us this morning is number 4510. It's petition filed by John Ament and others at 50 West 636 Beath Road in Virgil Township. I move its approval and request a second. Barbara Winnicki seconds. This is the proposed rezoning of F District farming to F District 1 rural residential. There was no regional plan commission jurisdiction. The zoning board approved, as did the development committee. Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Ellen? Barrero? Davis? Braz? Hanson? Hernandez? Oshite? Iqbal? Kenyon? Caius? Kobe? Leonard? Lewis? Martin? Molina? Sanchez? Shefflo? Surgis? Weber? Wegman? Winnicki? That passes.
Motion carries. The last petition is petition number 4511. That's in Aurora Township. Property described as 901 Ridgeway Avenue. The petition was filed by Ridgeway Partners, LLC. I move its approval and request a second. Mr. Sanchez seconds. This is a proposed rezoning from R1 district, one family residential, to B3 district with a special use to allow safety training, construction training, and parking on the property. It's consistent with the 2040 plan. The zoning board approved it with four stipulations, being one, an adequate outfall for any stormwater must be demonstrated in the stormwater permit application. Two, the existing access to Glenwood Court shall be removed. Three, no new access shall be granted. Four, a 6-foot privacy fence or appropriate screening installed on the west side of the property. The development committee approved the petition with incorporating those four recommendations. Are there any comments or questions? Mr. Fries?
Sorry, I just have a question. During development committee, I know Ms. Barrio brought up an additional length of fence. Stipulation number 4 says a fence along the west side of the property, but I believe it was going to be you requested an additional stretch of fence. I don't know if the petitioner can address that, but I don't know that was added in after development committee. The stipulations are from the zoning board, and there was an additional stipulation or agreement that an additional length of fence on a different side would have been added. Could the petitioner maybe address that?
No, I understand that. But that was the original, but you requested additional.
We did.
Good morning. My name is Richard Williams. I'm an attorney for Ridgeway Partners. My understanding is that there was some discussion about possibly another fence upon the northern property line. What wasn't brought up at the time, though, was that there is approximately 8 pine trees that were installed by my client at a cost of about $5,000 to provide screening. The site is already secured by fencing. We're more than happy to add an additional fence if necessary, but we believe that the pine trees that are there provide adequate screening. I did talk to Angie Thomas about this last week. She said she had no objection to the plan as presented.
Yeah, the discussion was, to a child, the trees aren't really going to keep them out, so the fence is requested, but I'm just reminding everybody, it didn't make it to our agenda today.
Well, based on this discussion, I'm concluding that issue's been addressed. Is that, are you satisfied?
Apparently, yes, yes. 5-year was, just what you said, the pine trees are just into the property.
Are there any other comments or questions? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Ellen? Guerrero? Davis?
Yes.
Raz?
Yes.
Hanson? Hernandez? Oshite? Iqbal? Kenyon?
Yes.
Caius? Kofi? Leonard? Lewis? Martin? Molina? Sanchez? Sheflo? Sturgis? Weber? Wegman? Winnicke? That passes.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Okay, next is the consent agenda. Would anyone like to remove an item from the consent agenda this morning? Going once, twice. Okay, if not, may I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda? So moved by Mr. Leonard, second by Mr. Martin. Clerk, call the roll.
Allen? Guerrero? Davis? Raz? Hanson? Hernandez? Oshite? Iqbal? Kenyon? Caius? Kofi? Leonard? Lewis? Martin? Molina? Sanchez? Sheflo? Sturgis? Weber? Wegman? Winnicke?
Okay, consent agenda passes. Okay, next on the agenda, may I have a motion and a second to discuss and take potential action on 19291. So moved by Mr. Hoshite, second by Mr. Weber. What I'd like to do this morning on this is, hold a discussion for it. We saw, this is the Info Matrix project to promote Kane County as a good place to live, work, and raise a family. And then after the discussion, I would propose that we take a month so that any questions can be answered. We want to make sure that we go through the process of having it properly vetted through the state's attorney's office. Any other things that anybody wants to bring forward. I want to make sure that no one feels that there is a hurry in this. So I would suggest that we take a measured approach to clearly understand what the true value of this project is and what we're buying. It's quality production work, not national TV advertising or celebrity endorsement. Let's see, Blair, if you put up the list of the different clients that they've helped. While Blair's doing that, there's hundreds of videos and many clients. Naturally, and I'm sorry for the small print on those, but some of the clients, Notre Dame University, Marquette University, Fairfield, Florida State, Clemson University, New York City Surgical Associates. As you can tell, it goes on. What I'll do is I'll pass this around so I don't take too much more time. We'll distribute that after the meeting over the next month. But lots and lots of videos, lots of work done for people. Any of us who have been in business understand that you can't score 100%. There are times that people are not they're not satisfied with the product, and so there are complaints. Basically, there are a couple of areas where there hasn't been full satisfaction from several clients, where number one, people think that for $27,000, they're buying a national advertising campaign on PBS or major systems. I'm afraid that folks who come to that conclusion are, let's call it inexperienced, because you know that advertising national level costs millions and millions of dollars. I mean, what is it, a 30-second commercial on the Super Bowl is, tens of millions of dollars. So anyone who would buy this for a national advertising, I mean, it's, the intention and commitment is to make available to PBS channel nationwide and then other major. I would ask you, when you vote, discount that. Discount it to 0. I understand that there was another person who thought that, like Lawrence Fishburne or other celebrities should have really gone into great detail talking about, how much they believe in this company or this organization where the commercial. It's just not how it works. You don't get for $27,000. However, it is interesting, the approach that they've taken. It does get interest. The celebrity presentation or introduction, it does, it does get the interest and the association with PBS. That's a good thing too. But what we're buying, the value for $27,000 is the production quality, not advertising or celebrity endorsement. And again, I would suggest anybody, it's okay to vote no. Discount both of those to 0 so that there's not any misunderstanding. Any national or regional exposure is gravy or cherry on top of the sundae. But what we do need once every 10 years in Kane County is a product that we can show to people that's like straightening your tie, kind of combing your hair, brushing our teeth, going out in public and presenting, this is a great place to live, work, and raise a family. The whole point of the quality production. Not TV advertising, not celebrity endorsement. Now, this group has volunteered to work for us for free. Now, I don't think that Kane County, well, let's put it in the affirmative. Kane County pays its way when it's, for instance, union employees, we properly pay. Non-union employees, we properly pay. Contractors, we properly pay. Board members and chairmen, we pay for services we receive. So one of the things that I'd like to be sure is that when we have the resolution, that we have the language in there up to $27,000, anywhere from the 0 to $27,000. Basically, in my mind, I'm not saying that everybody would agree, but in my mind, it's almost like a money-back guarantee. They're so certain that the quality is there and that we'll be pleased with what we receive as long as we have a proper understanding of what we're buying, is that they would work for free. But it is true that you do get what you pay for. And to have artistic people come in and say, we're not going to pay you. That wouldn't be real world kind of stuff. So we'll have a month to give it some more thought. Two things that I need to be sure, we all need to be sure that the language has up to $27,000 and that our state's attorney's office goes through and gives the proper vetting. With that, I'd like to open it up for discussion. Any thoughts? Dr. Iqbal?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, to give us a brief summary of what is happening. I read today's paper, Daily Herald, and they elaborated the background. I am not very comfortable voting yes for this project. If your goal is to get a video, we can get the video here locally cheaper. And they are also artistic people in our community. If they want to do it for free, which they offer, if the board wants to take that offer, that's good. but nothing, not for 27 or 0 to 27. Thank you.
Okay. I understand. Other comments, thoughts? Ms. Allen?
I think of this as a target of opportunity. We don't often have the coming together of some modest resources in our budget. $27,000 is certainly dollars, but it's small compared to what we are usually spending our money on. And I think this is a tool because we're also proud of being part of this community. And we have a chance to spread that word. I'm going to guess that this is something that we can take to our neighbors. We can take to our neighborhood gatherings. We can take to our city councils. And if we are lucky enough to get public service announcement time on Channel 11, I certainly enjoyed the other areas that have been shown on public networks, in spite of your condition, of course, Mr. Chairman. I'm just thinking, Ms. Ferrero and Ms. Molina and Ms. White and I represent real urban environments. And yet we also have the farmettes. Somebody wants to have a horse or some sheep. They can do that here. And Ms. Lynn represents an over in Captain. And we are so proud of our agricultural treasures. Not being smiled at this year maybe, but Mr. Kennedy represents that. We have Western Groves. Mr. Frost represents that. We have the river zones. I just think we're really proud to be here to be part of this community. And this is a total lottery chance to show up. So I look forward to that.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. Also, thank you. Addressing Dr. Iqbal's thought that it can be done cheaper, and also the local component. When this came up, the first couple of conversations about this, maybe 6 to 8 weeks ago, Joe Onsick in the procurement process, professional services, went out to get a couple of other, quotes, locally in the Chicago region, in, the Cook and Collier County regions, and found that the price was in the same ballpark. It's possible to get it cheaper. Would be cheaper than zero. If we were to elect to take the services for free, we could do that. But I'll also circulate in the next 30 days the short study that Joe Onsick did with the help of people who do that, the same kind of services locally. Would that be okay? I mean, not that it's going to, persuade, but I'd like everybody to have that information available. Any other comments? Mr. Sanchez?
I'm not opposed to the idea of having this company do this work for us. I do think $27,000 is a big price tag. If they're willing to do it for free, I would like to take them up on that offer. If we're going to pay money, then my personal recommendation would be to send it back to executive just so we could discuss it a little bit more and possibly look at other options to see if there's any other way to do it more cheaply and just have more of a full conversation in that regard. But otherwise, I like the idea of them doing it for free and be having some good media to put out there to promote our county.
Thank you. Mr. Hanson?
And I just want to echo some of the other studies that I heard this morning. As currently constructed at the Kansas, I think it's ready to have funds earmarked for such a project. I was going to see probably that if we pull up possibly the reports of other companies that they can get area. So everybody this morning to decide that we'll do theirs. We're going to do the line for several days that are already running with their
Thank you. Any other thoughts? Mr. Kenyon?
Well, remember that old quote, free is good. But I think the idea of this video is great. If we don't tell our story, nobody will know it. And obviously, most of us enjoy living here. We enjoy everything we do in Kane County. Who does it, to me, doesn't make a difference. The committee could select the one that they like the best. But remember, we get what we pay for. So free isn't as always good as it sounds. But it's a great idea, and I think we should pursue it.
Okay, thank you. Any other thoughts? Mr. Caius?
Well, excuse me, thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the line of the free, if they give it to us for free and we don't like it, then we can go spend $27,000 later on a better project. My thought.
Thank you, Mr. Caius. Other thoughts? If not, may I have a motion and a second? Let's see. We have a motion and a second to discuss, take potential action. I'd like to amend the motion to postpone this for 1 month, so table it for 1 month for potential consideration at, and I'd be happy to put it on the executive committee to discuss it, of course. But let's see. Mr. Hochheit has so basically it would be a motion to table for a month and then reconsider if that's.
Just one thing to keep in mind, I supported this through the committee process because the source of the funds was Riverboat grant money, which is supposed to be earmarked toward projects like economic development and education, which this squarely fits within. And you know, if this project works and we attract people to Kane County, that'll help all our businesses, including the Riverboat potentially, which is kind of a give back there. So I think we need to keep that into account when we're talking about investing the $27,000. It's not coming from real estate tax revenue. It's a grant that we allocate, and I think it fits squarely within the parameters of the grant.
Okay, so may I have a motion and a second to amend? So moved by Mr. Kenyon, second by Dr. Iqbal. Clerk, call the roll.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Caius?
Can you repeat what the amendment is?
The amendment is that it's basically a motion and a second to postpone taking any action. So it's to table it for 1 month. It's to table it, and we'll take it up in potentially take it up in executive or next month's board meeting. Okay? It's basically postponing it for a month and including Mr. Sanchez's idea of further conversation at executive. Okay? Does everybody understand the motion? Okay. Clerk, call the roll.
It's a table matter. Allen. Ferrero. Davis.
Yes.
Fries.
Yes.
Hanson. Hernandez. Hochheit.
Yes.
Iqbal.
Yes.
Kenyon.
Yes.
Caius.
Yes.
Copey.
Yes.
Leonard.
Yes.
Lewis. Martin.
Yes.
Molina. Sanchez.
Yes.
Shefflo.
Yes.
Surges.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Wegman. Wanicki.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you for your support on the motion. May I have a motion and a second for Resolution 19292, authorizing execution of collective bargaining agreement and approving the fiscal year 2019 budget adjustment for wage increases related to the collective bargaining agreement with the Sheriff's Office Court Security Sergeant's Bargaining Unit. So moved by Mr. Leonard, second by Ms. Allen. Any thoughts, comments? If not, clerk, call the roll.
Allen. Ferrero. Davis.
Yes.
Fries.
Yes.
Hanson.
Yes.
Hernandez. Hochheit.
Yes.
Iqbal.
Yes.
Kenyon.
Yes.
Caius.
Yes.
Copey.
Yes.
Leonard.
Yes.
Lewis. Martin.
Yes.
Molina. Sanchez.
Yes.
Shefflo.
Yes.
Surges.
Yes.
Weber.
Yes.
Wegman. Winnicki.
Okay, motion passes. Finally, in this section, appointments. May I have a motion and a second to, I guess this is to recognize or accept initial appointments to the Census Count Task Force or the Commission in Formation that Dr. Iqbal is leading us through. This is the accurate census count. These are initial appointments. I believe that I'm going to call on Dr. Iqbal to give us those names and to give a quick update on where we stand on that. So, Dr. Iqbal, would that be okay?
Mr. Chairman, the mission of this ad hoc committee or task force, you may call it, is called Complete Count Committee. And its mission is to get a full and accurate count in Kane County since 2020.
And the people who have reached out to you, as far as the people who have reached out to you who want to be a part of that, and all are welcome. Nobody is excluded. It's very important. All are included. But the people who have reached out to you so far, do you have a list?
People who have reached out to me are Mr. Sanchez, Mr. Kios, Angie Thomas,
and Anita Lewis.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Yeah, those are the folks who have reached out to me and they are willing to help. It's a hard work. It's a few months of very hard work, and then it will, after the April 2020, it will die out. At this point, as you know, Mr. Chairman, the state has given or promised to give $20 million to counties to help count hard to count people. And we believe that Kane County, if we make good effort, we can get more than $4 million. Elgin has already received about $200,000. Aurora has received about $200,000. But the rest of the community has not received anything. So we are trying to get that.
And you've done some good work on, not placing Kane County as the intermediary. I think that you've reached out to some associations and then through the libraries.
You made it very clear to me that Kane County or any department or any employee would not be involved in this process. So everything is outside the county. It is a hard job. I thought I could not do it without the county's help, but I found people outside the county who were very enthusiastic to get the count, accurate count. And we have pinpointed a person or actually who will be intermediary. It's called regional intermediary, and she would take care of the Collar County and the Cook County's suburban areas. And we will be under another subsidiary. So hopefully it will work out. The deadline to submit the application is September 6th, and we will submit it, and within a month we will know whether we get the money or not.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Iqbal. Any questions or comments? If not, clerk, call the roll.
I need a motion and a second.
I think we had the motion and second, or did we? No? Okay. May I have a motion and a second? So moved by Dr. Iqbal. Second by... Well, then consensus from the board to move forward. Would that be okay? All right. So we'll withdraw those motions. Thank you very much. And thank you for your work on this, both Dr. Iqbal and everybody on the board who's working on it. May I have a motion and a second to go into executive session? So moved by Mr. Kopi, second by Mr. Caius. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, nay.
Weber? Wegman? Winnicki?
Okay, motion passes. May I have a motion and a second to approve settlement of claim number 18 WC 14524? So moved by Mr. Caius, second by Ms. Allen. Clerk, call the roll.
Ellen? Guerrero? Davis?
Yes.
Braz? Hanson? Hernandez? Olshey? Iqbal? Kane? Tice? Kofi? Leonard? Lewis? Martin? Molina? Sanchez? Sheffler? Weber? Wegman? Warnicki?
Okay, motion passes. May I have a motion and a second to approve settlement of claim number 18 WC 2494?
Mr. Chairman, if I'd like, because there's no, this is not a resolution, if we could specify the dollar amount, which is $5,784.62.
And so there's no resolution for this?
No, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman, it's not
all right.
necessary.
So is it, what action would you like on this? Consent? It's already.
Motion you requested to approve settlement of that claim at that amount.
Okay, understood. Approve. So didn't I say, may I have a motion and a second to approve settlement of claim number 18 WC 2494? How should I amend that?
Just state in the amount of $5,784.62.
Okay, 5784.97%. 63. Okay, good. So it's the amount.
Correct.
Good. Okay. So moved by Mr. Davis, second by Mr. Weber. Clerk, call the roll.
All right, Ellen? Guerrero? Davis? Braz? Hanson? Hernandez? Olshey? Iqbal? Kane? Tice? Kofi? Leonard? Lewis? Martin? Molina? Sanchez? Sheffler? Thomas? Weber? Wegman? And Winnicki?
Okay, motion passes. Okay, only other thing that I have, other discussion on non-confidential legal matters. Just wanted to give you a report that on the Maxim Glenwood, you know that the property was sold. The bonds that we issued to help them do the Glenwood School, and I'm not positive what the amount was, somewhere between $25 and $30 million. I'd have to go back and look that up. But 35% of the bonds have been paid back now. We got notification yesterday from the trust and the folks who are putting together that transaction that approximately $9 million, actually $8.8 million of bonds were paid back, and approximately $25 million are still open. So 35% of the bonds are paid back, but 100% of the property is sold. I don't think, just my observation on that, I don't think that any of us would take that transaction if we were a bank. And as you know, the property has been sold to, it's been flipped, sold to the next buyer. I understand that meetings are taking place as far as what happens next there, and the Maxim developer has passed away. Okay, may I have a motion and a second to adjourn until Tuesday, September 10th, 2019 at 9:45? So moved by Mr. Kenyon, second by Dr. Iqbal. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it.